In this video, I will give you every player that you need to succeed for the Week 17 main slate on FanDuel in under 5 minutes. My name's Quick Pick Nick, and having researched every team, every playoff scenario, and every player situation, here are your primary picks of the new year, January 3rd, 2021. These picks do apply to DraftKings, so the players I review here will still have those low prices and high values on either platform, so stick around to see those matchups that you should be watching for this week. If you like this kind of fast-paced, calculated content, subscribe and stay tuned for more lineups throughout the season, including full coverage of the playoffs all the way through Super Bowl 55. The content of this video was gathered a bit differently than usual, since it's impossible to account for which teams are resting, which teams have something to play for, and which teams are already eyeing the draft in April. So instead of using my standard program simulations and protocols, I did some digging into what's happening around the league in Week 17, and should be able to give you all of those cheap players who will end up finding their time in the spotlight with some big names taking it easy. The first player who will likely benefit from his surrounding circumstances, the alleged future of Miami, the one player who has the most to prove in a crucial Week 17 for both his future and his team's playoff standing, Tua Tagovailoa. For only $6,800 on FanDuel and even less on DraftKings for $5,100, Tua has the biggest potential this week, as he will need to definitively demonstrate that he deserves to be a starter in the NFL. With Ryan Fitzpatrick finding himself on the COVID-19 list, the Dolphins will no longer be able to fall on that crutch of pulling Tua in the fourth quarter, and will need to depend on Tua to play a solid 60 minutes of football. Not only do the Dolphins need Tua to play for the full game, but they also need Tua to play well, as Miami is currently in a win-and-in situation for the playoffs, because if they lose, then they jeopardize losing their current wildcard spot if the Ravens beat the Bengals, the Browns beat the resting Steelers, and the Colts beat the Jaguars, all very realistic possibilities. There's a lot on the line for Tagovailoa today, and we've seen him play well in the past, scoring 28 fantasy points against the Kansas City Chiefs just a few weeks ago. Against the Bills, who have nothing to play for and will likely give some of their players a break, Tagovailoa needs to affirm that he is the future of the Dolphins franchise. Alright, enough with the dramatics, and now on to the running backs. There are a couple of primaries who seem primed to have huge value relative to their prices, as we'll be taking Ty Montgomery and J.K. Dobbins. With Alvin Kamara, Latavius Murray, and Dwayne Washington all on the COVID-19 list, the only remaining running back on the Saints' active roster is Montgomery. Montgomery might not be the only running back against Carolina, as we've seen Taysom Hill in the backfield plenty of times this season, and New Orleans is elevating a few practice squad backs, but Montgomery will likely be the lead option in the backfield, and at a minimum cost on both FanDuel and DraftKings for only $4,500 and $4,000 respectively, we should be able to expect more than enough points to justify his price point. Dobbins is not a minimum cost player, but a very cheap one on FanDuel at only $6,400 and a bit more expensive at $6,700 on DraftKings. The Ravens are another win-and-in team for the playoffs, meaning if they beat the Bengals, they clinch a wildcard spot. And with J.K. Dobbins scoring more than 13 fantasy points in all of his past 5 contests, we should be able to expect this trend to continue against the Bengals' 27th ranked rush defense against running backs. At tight end, a great spot here is Robert Tonyan for $6,300 on FanDuel and $5,000 on DraftKings, as although the Packers are the most likely to earn the top seed in the NFC, they still haven't locked it up, as the Saints could steal that top spot with a win, a Packers loss, and a Seahawks win. A win for the Packers today would lock up that top spot though, so I would expect the Packers to be in full force so that they can take that week off during round 1 of the playoffs. And at full force, Tonyan has been a touchdown machine, averaging .71 touchdowns per game this season, ranking 3rd among tight ends. With other options like Travis Kelce and Darren Waller having nothing to play for, we really do have the freedom to go cheap at the tight end position without worrying about someone like Kelce blowing the rest of the tight end options out of the water. At flex, there's one player in particular I thought fell far too cheap on the price list, and that player is Ezekiel Elliott, as he costs just $6,500 on FanDuel and $6,400 on DraftKings. Both the Cowboys and Giants have something to play for, as if the Eagles win tonight, then the winner of this game will clinch the NFC East. Zeke has been off his game throughout most of the season, but he has had some big performances, especially recently against Philadelphia, scoring nearly 16 fantasy points, as well as the last time he faced the Giants, scoring 23 fantasy points. As the 20th cheapest running back on FanDuel, we should be able to expect far more points than its price point projection would suggest. And even though there are other running backs with good matchups and something to play for, like Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, or David Montgomery, the 3 running backs we already have allow us for the opportunity to spend big at the wide receiver position, and the 3 receivers we took in this lineup will all be playing for playoff seeding today, as we are able to afford Devontae Adams, another Packer looking for that top seed in the NFC, Allen Robinson playing for the Bears, who will clinch a wild card in the NFC with a win against the Green Bay Packers, and A.J. Brown playing for yet another win-and-in team, as the Titans will claim the AFC South title with a victory against the Texans. For the defense, any of the teams I mentioned in this video who have something left to play for would all be good choices, but with the money we have left, we're able to get the Browns defense, facing off against a Mason Rudolph-led Steelers team who have nothing left to play for, as Cleveland attempts to reach the playoff berth for the first time in 18 years. That's what my model was able to come up with for the Week 17 main slate on FanDuel for today, January 3rd, 2021. This has been Quick Pick Nick, the intersection for sports, data analysis, and speed. Thanks for watching.